Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Stories for Hope podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and I am so excited for today's episode. If you're joining us for the first time, Stories for Hope is a podcast run by Hope for Kids International. On this podcast, we share amazing inspirational stories to inspire you to bring hope to those in need. Last week, we talked about a beautiful family who had such an impact on our founder in the early years of ministry. And if you haven't already listened to that episode, I invite you to. In today's episode, we're going to hear from Tom and a dear friend of his named Bill Brandom. Bill and his family have been involved in the ministry for about 20 years now, and you may have seen the video we posted on YouTube last week where Bill talks about the legacy he's created with his children and grandchildren. But today we're going to hear about the beginning when Bill was first introduced to the ministry and his journey from being a hard cynic to becoming an advocate to those in need around the world. Let's hear from Tom and Bill.
Hey, Bill Brandom.
Hey, Tom.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you
I'm
again.
telling you.
Good to see you again.
I enjoy traveling the world with you, and I don't know how many countries you've been to. A lot of them.
A lot.
A lot of stories. I know we've known each other for, when did we first meet?
2003
Okay.
is the first time that I remember seeing you at Messiah Lutheran Church.
19 years ago, so I was in my 40s.
No, you were.
And you were a kid, too.
Right. You were younger, and I was skinnier.
You were.
Right.
I remember that now. No, but it's been quite an adventure these last years together, and you've become such an important part of Hope for Kids, and we appreciate you so much, and you've touched lives all over the world. But how did we first connect with Hope for Kids?
The way that we connected was I got to hear you up in front of the church.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, that particular talk, I didn't fall asleep. So I actually,
Which is rare.
So I actually got to hear you.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, I think maybe what Tom is saying, I think it's pretty cool that what he's doing.
Yeah.
So you sold me.
Okay.
And then you said that you had pictures of people in the back of kids that if we wanted to, we could sponsor one.
Okay.
And so Cindy and I made the decision while we were in the pew, well, why don't we sponsor one?
Okay.
So we found a little girl named Joan.
Okay.
And we started sponsoring her.
Okay.
So we were excited about that. We left the church. We enjoyed the fact that we met you.
Right.
Now we have this child that
Right.
we're going to be helping, and it's all good.
Yeah.
But to be honest, a few weeks later, I started thinking, wow, I wonder if that girl even exists.
Wow.
Or is it just that Tom has these pictures of African kids, and that Hope for Kids collects money for those?
Yeah.
And I'd never be the wiser.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't anything that you said.
Okay.
It wasn't anything that I saw with Hope for Kids.
Yeah.
It was just my inner part in terms of me saying how cynical that I am.
Right.
Especially when it comes to giving up some of my money.
Right.
Especially in those days, I wasn't very good about giving up money.
Oh,
Cindy was raised in the church. I was taken to church.
Right. Good.
Big difference there.
Yeah.
So for years when we were married, Cindy would want us to be giving each Sunday, and I'd bite my tongue and do it because it's the only way that I got to continue living with her.
Oh.
But I didn't like it because I wasn't really
sure.
convinced that my money was making that much difference.
Yeah.
Anyway, no offense to the church. It's just there's the cynic in me.
You know what? I think a lot of people feel that way. I always approach people in that way, thinking they're going to be cynical, and that's okay. I'm cynical too. I want to find out if this is really real.
If this is the real
and
deal.
it's really making a difference.
And so that was always my really. That was as I could look back now. That's the reason that I was so unwilling to give, I think.
Right.
So anyway, Cindy and I started talking about it, and then we heard that there were trips that you could go on with Hope for Kids. And I thought, okay, well, our girl is over in Uganda. Maybe we should go to Uganda. If nothing else, I can find out if this girl even exists. So before we went, I don't know if you remember, but I called you.
Okay.
And I said, okay, what I need is I need a list of what it is my kids get.
okay.
And so you spelled it out, and I
Yeah.
wrote it down.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, I'm going to find out.
Okay.
So we went to Uganda, and after a couple of days, we actually got to meet Joan. And probably the first thing I did is said, okay, so I'm
Here's
your
the list.
sponsor.
Huh?
And no, I didn't show her the
Oh,
list.
okay, okay,
I just,
okay.
I asked her, I said, what is
Oh.
it you get
Oh,
from
good.
Hope for Kids?
Good.
Because I thought, okay,
Good.
I'll catch them.
Yeah.
And she proceeded to give me the same list. It was a little bit different order than
Yeah.
yours,
Yeah.
but it was the same items.
Same.
I thought,
Wow.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
Number one, she exists.
Yeah.
And number two, she's getting what Tom said that
Right.
she would receive.
Yeah.
And I thought, dang, this might be the real deal. You know, it was so great to be able to spend time with her.
Yeah.
It's, you know, when we sponsor a child, being able to actually get to know them,
Yes.
what a
Yeah.
wonderful experience that
Yeah, it
was.
sure is.
Also, when we went that trip, when Cindy and I were going over, being naive and not ever being gone to a country that it was in such financial need, I actually thought, in my mind, I thought I'm going to go over there and I'm going to save the world.
Wow.
I'm going to go over there and save Uganda.
Right.
And I got over there, and that very first day, we saw the hospital.
Yeah.
We saw a number of things. I was so overwhelmed that got back to our hotel room that night, and I said, you know, this. I told Cindy, I said, this is too much.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is overwhelming,
Right.
and I don't know if I can really do much over here.
Wow.
She goes, well, but we can help one.
That's good. I like that.
And
Yeah.
you know, so then that was manageable.
Yeah.
I thought, well, yeah,
Yeah.
by gosh, we can.
Yeah.
And so it's from that has grown.
Yeah.
It was from that trip that I said, wow, maybe there's other trips that I want to go on.
Yeah.
I think Cindy and I each have been to Uganda now 14 or 15
Oh,
times.
wow.
I have to count the
Yeah.
amount of
Yeah. The
badges
tags.
and the tags that I've got to really be sure.
Yeah.
And so, just wonderful experiences
Yeah.
along the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think all of it really comes down in terms of why we sponsor as many children as we do, is we want to make a difference.
Yes. Yeah.
And what I'm starting to realize is really everybody wants to make a difference.
Right.
I see it with my grandchildren.
Yep. Yep.
I see it with people I meet on the street,
Yeah.
that all of us really would like to make a difference in this world.
Yeah.
All of us would like to be able to help people in need.
Yeah.
I think where most of people struggle is the fact that we don't know we don't know where to do that.
Right.
When I think about supporting an organization, a nonprofit organization, to me it keeps boiling down to three things.
Okay.
It comes down to what is the mission of
Okay.
the organization.
Right.
Do I believe in that mission?
Okay. Okay.
And the Hope for Kids mission is built around 4 words.
Yeah.
And so do I believe in that mission? Do I believe in the leadership in the organization?
Okay.
And do I believe that the organization is financially, do they watch how the money is spent?
That's right. Good
And
stewards.
so if those 3 things are in place, it's so easy to become part of the organization.
Wow.
Because,
Wow.
like I say, I think all of us look for an opportunity in terms of how we can serve and be able to somehow make some people's lives better.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
so that really, I think, is what drives so much of what Cindy and I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Is the fact that we want to be there to help.
Yeah.
So,
Well, reflecting back on, you wanted to save the world, and then you were overwhelmed, and I can identify with that deeply. But I always emphasize that one you're changing, like Cindy said. And I think it has to start with that one, and then you realize that child, and you've been sponsored long enough to see what your children have grown into and the impact they're having on their nation. And I know you also, not just your family, but people you meet. And now, we haven't mentioned that you're a board member of ours. So you've come from the skeptic to now you and Cindy are on the board of directors of Hope for Kids, and you've become an advocate for people you meet in the hospital, on the street, in your work, in wherever. So God has really transformed you into somebody that's truly impacting this world.
Yeah.
And I just thank you for the part you are, and I think we're just starting. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for your sharing your heart. This is really powerful stuff, and we appreciate you, and especially Cindy. But
Wow. Bill, if you're listening to this, I just got to say you are a true inspiration. So many important parts in this story that I think we can all relate to. I love when they were talking about how everyone wants to be a difference maker, and I honestly think that's true. We all want to help others in some way, whether that's in our family, in our hometown, or around the world. If you feel overwhelmed, just start with one person. That's my challenge for you this week. Look for an opportunity where you can help one person. As you go into this week, if you feel a pull in your heart that the way you want to help someone is by sponsoring a child, we'd love to get connected with you. We've got kids around the world in need of sponsorship, and we'd love to talk with you about the opportunity and the difference it makes in a child's life. You can get connected with us by going to H4KI.org. Thanks everyone for listening. Have a blessed day.